Hello movie Barfs, and welcome back to the channel. The original Aladdin in 1992 was a timeless masterpiece that still holds up today. There was no way you could top that. Sometimes it's best to leave a good thing alone. So here are some reasons why we would rub our lamps and wish that the 2019 remake never happened. Number 1. The story works better on animation. The animated version was so much more visually appealing with its vibrant colors. The live version just looks dull in comparison that you wonder if the filmmakers even tried to match it. Take the Cave of Wonders for example. In the original, the exterior of the cave was dark and ominous, while its interior was bright and majestic, like Scrooge McDuck's vault. In the remake, both the external and internal surroundings can be summed up in one word: gray. It's pretty much walls of stone gray, and as for the coins, well, it looks like we had a huge discount. Instead of having mountains of gold you could get lost in, here we just had several coins scattered here and there. I wonder why they didn't just CGI in several boatloads of coins to make the scene a bit more magical. And the shift from animation to real life doesn't just affect the colors, it affects the acrobatics and the action scenes too. With animation, you're only limited by what the artist can draw. The animated Aladdin could jump off buildings and over rooftops like it was his job. As for the remake, in the one jump ahead scene, the filmmakers had to resort to fast forwarding Aladdin's movements to give his movements an artificial boost. It made the whole thing look fake, as if you were watching a video game. Number 2. Aladdin and Jasmine's character development. Now, when comparing to the original, the scene where Aladdin gets pushed around and ridiculed by the townsfolk was reduced to a few seconds. The scene with Jasmine in the birdcage where she contemplates her fate of arranged marriage also didn't make it to the live version. Those scenes helped to make their characters more relatable and for the audience to be emotionally invested. Number 3. Will Smith's Genie. When Will Smith was himself as the Genie, it was actually pretty good. But when he tries to be like Robin Williams in the songs, it becomes an inconsistent performance. What made the Genie work so well in the original was the sheer amount of high-octane energy he put into his voice acting. He could change his voice to sound like a totally different person in his regular lines and in the songs, not to mention his ability to ad-lib his own lines, making them some of the best in the film. In the remake, songs like Friend Like Me and Prince Ali appeared to be on slow speed when performed by Will Smith. They don't have the same explosive energy and were painfully slow and boring compared to the original. Number 4. The Wooden Romance. Aladdin and Jasmine have almost no chemistry in this movie, which is shocking for a movie centered on a love story. Their performances were wooden, and it felt like they needed several more takes to get their line delivery right. In the original animation, they both could relate to each other based on how trapped they felt, despite being on the opposite ends of the wealth spectrum. Jasmine felt cornered into an arranged marriage, while Aladdin felt stuck in an endless cycle of poverty. In the remake, we discovered that both of them have mothers who taught them the same song before passing on, but it isn't further developed. Later on in the film, their relationship was reduced to a game of cat and mouse, with Aladdin trying to keep up the pretense of being a prince, while Jasmine tries to expose him. I'd say even the Genie and Dahlia's relationship had better chemistry with less screen time. Number 5. No one can sing except for Jasmine. Enough said. Number 6. Discount Jafar. In the remake, Jafar actually had a better backstory than the one in the original. Here we learn that he was also a street rat like Aladdin, but somehow rose to power. We see his frustration at always having to play second fiddle and his desire to be the one calling the shots instead. And he has one of the best lines in the film: "Steal an apple and you're a thief. Steal a kingdom and you're a statesman." But unfortunately, the actor who played Jafar in the remake didn't have the screen presence to do the script justice. His deadpan delivery didn't make him menacing enough to feel like a threat. Number 7. The reduced roles of Abu, Iago, and the carpet. This one stems off from the first point, where animation works better for the story. In the original, Abu, Iago, and the carpet were great supporting characters with their own unique personality. But you can't have a monkey making affectionate faces in real life as you can with animation, or a parrot giving snarky comments with a mischievous face. So to keep with the realism, they were reduced back to generic animals, or objects in the case of the carpet, with a much smaller role. Number 8. The disappointing climax. When the live-action remake was announced, I was curious to see how they'd handle the finale. I wanted to see a 100-foot-tall live-action Genie holding the Agrabah Palace in his hands, or Jafar turning into a giant snake with Jasmine trapped in a huge hourglass just like in the animation. But what did we get instead? A boring flying carpet chase around Agrabah with an oversized Iago that was barely shown on screen. Guess the CGI budget went to Will Smith's Genie instead. I was wondering why Jafar didn't just teleport them back to the palace, as he was already shown to be capable of doing. Disappointing to say the least. So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of our other videos as well.